Hi, first graders and first grade parents. Miss Pagan here. Today we're going to talk about what you're going to do for journal. So once again, in order to do journal, you're going to need to have a few materials ready. You're going to need to have either your journal, if you have one, a piece of paper, or a whiteboard in order to write on, and of course, a pencil to write with. So today we are going to be continuing to think about animals and how they help people and how they can be trained and studied as well. So today in our journal, we're going to start with our date just like we did back on Monday. So in my journal, again at the top, I wrote 4/22/2020. I wrote my name and my number, 25 for the class. So today we're going to be working on an informational writing. It's a little bit different than opinion writing, but the structure is essentially very similar. So from Monday and Tuesday, if you remember that structure of a topic sentence, details in the middle, and a conclusion, the informational writing is quite similar. So we are again doing informational writing, and our question that we're posing today is, what are some things you can learn from studying animals? And this goes along with our story today, the story about Coco and Penny. So if you've watched that video and heard that story, you'll kind of hopefully get some ideas for this journal topic today. So I want you, your child, to think about what are some things you can learn from studying animals. And I want students to consider things from food, what they eat, their behavior, how they interact with other animals or how they interact with people, things like where they sleep, and how they play. So I want kids to consider all of those things when they're thinking about what we can learn about if we study them, if we watch them and really pay attention to what they do. So after students have thought for maybe a couple minutes about what are some things that we could learn from studying animals, I would like them to share it with somebody. I'd like them to vocalize it out loud so that we know that they have some ideas ready in their brains, and so that when they start writing, they're not going to get totally stumped. Today, after we have thought about the question, what we're going to do is only write our topic sentence and our first detail sentence. And this is, of course, after our picture. So after the students have thought about an animal or animals, if they'd like to maybe pick more than one, that's fine too. They're going to go ahead and draw their picture of an animal that they could think about studying. So for example, again, in our story for Coco, Coco was a gorilla. So if they wanted to draw a gorilla, they could do that. Or if they wanted to draw a different kind of animal, that's fine too. They should take about 10 minutes to draw a picture of an animal that could be studied, to learn about what their behavior is like, to learn about what they eat, etc. So they should draw their picture in a blank white space. Take about 10 minutes. And then after that, we're going to move on to our topic sentence and our first detail. So I'm going to give you some time to work on your picture, and then we'll go ahead and move on to our sentences. All right, hopefully you've had enough time to work on your picture of your animal, and now we're going to go ahead and get started with our topic sentence. So if we think again about how our writing is a lot like building a sandwich, the top part of the sandwich is like the bread. In the middle are the details, and the conclusion is the other piece of bread. So with our topic sentence, we really want to talk about what our overall topic is. We want to really start to answer that question, get ready to answer that question by introducing our topic. So I wrote 2 examples of topic sentences that students could use or use some type of a variation of. So the first one says, you can learn many things by studying animals. And then this is really setting students up to go ahead and start to explain in their details what those things are, what they can learn from studying animals. The second one is, I know there are some things you can learn by studying animals. Again, these are just 2 general examples. So if students wanted to write something a little bit different, that's fine too, as long as they are mentioning the part about studying animals and the fact that we can learn something by studying animals. So again, if they would like to just use these as their sentence starters, that's completely fine. If they would like to use these but maybe change them a little bit, that's fine too, as long as they are introducing the topic to get ready to describe our details. So after they've written their topic sentence, remember they need to go back and do their quick checks. So they would write their sentence under where their picture is, and their quick checks, just like they did on Monday and Tuesday, are to check for capitals, giving themselves a quick check if they can touch their capital at the beginning of the sentence, touching their finger space in between words, giving themselves their check, putting a period at the end, touching it, making sure it's there, and again, whisper reading to make sure their sentence makes sense and that their letters have been placed nicely on the line. If they are able to do all of those things, they should have 4 quick checks for their topic sentence. So I'm going to give you some time to work on your topic sentence, and then we'll go ahead and work on our first detail. All right, hopefully you got your first sentence done, your topic sentence, and hopefully you were able to get all 4 of your quick checks done as well. We're now going to move on to our first detail sentence. This is going to be the last sentence for today, because tomorrow you will finish your last 2 details and your conclusion. So our first detail sentence, we really want to go back to using those transition words that we used on Monday and Tuesday. So I've given a couple examples of transition words that they can use in the beginning, and then a little bit of a sentence starter to help them get ready to describe what are some things you can learn by studying animals. So the first detail sentence starter I have is first, comma, you can learn, and then it's blank. So that's where they would write what you can learn by studying animals. So for example, I might say by studying gorillas, I could say first you can learn what they like to eat by studying animals. Or I could say first you can learn how they like to communicate. So those are just a couple examples, but again, it might be different depending on which animal your child has chosen to draw. So another sentence starter is to start, comma, you can learn blank. Again, they would fill in something that they could learn by studying their animal that they chose. And the last one, to begin with, comma, you can learn blank. So again, with each of these sentence starters, you'll notice that there is supposed to be a comma after each sentence starter, and then a period at the end of the sentence. So once they have written their first detail sentence, they're going to want to go back and again do those quick checks, checking for uppercase letter at the beginning, checking for finger space, checking for punctuation, including their comma after their transition word, and then going back to reread to make sure it makes sense and that their letters are nicely on the line. So today, if they can get their picture done, they can get their topic sentence and their first detail sentence done, then tomorrow when we go and finish our details, what they'll do is they'll just be able to finish their 3 sentences, go back, reread the whole thing, finish their picture if they need to, and then they will have a nice completed paragraph. So if you have any questions about today's writing, don't hesitate to reach out and email me, or you can reach out to your child's teacher as well. Good luck and happy writing.